Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of For Azeroth, the podcast where I, Garrett Weinzierl, and her, Jocelyn and Moffett, sit here and talk all things Warcraft. And I have a feeling we're going to kick it off with 7.2.5 stuff this week, or at least Jocelyn is, because I don't know how to Warcraft correctly. Jocelyn, how's 7.2.5 treating you?
Well, I spent a whole lot of time in the Deaths of Chromie scenario, and it was really funny because when I was trying to put stuff into the notes for like what we'd been up to this week, I was like, oh man, I haven't really done too much since the last show. Oh, wait. I played so much Warcraft that it was literally 4 o'clock in the morning and I could barely move my fingers.
Oh, all right. One of those. Those were always fun.
Deaths of Chromie. Good stuff.
That's awesome. So the day it came out, I logged in as soon as possible. If you recall, last Tuesday, there was a queue to get into just the Blizzard launcher. It took me about 90 minutes to get in, and I went in and tried it, and got my ass properly handed to me. Like I got they wiped the floor with my poor Death Knight, and that was about it. I left thinking, this is really cool. I love the flavor going on here. I love Chromie, by the way. So just like putting me in a room with Chromie, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm going to have a good time. But this is so deeply Chromie focused. There is a ton of very wittily written time travel humor, which is that's my alley. That's where I would set up shop. It's not up my alley. That's just an alley in which I want to reside. So it's very much like the flavor of nerd that I very much enjoy. But then, like I said, I don't know how to Warcraft correctly. Went in, thought it was awesome, died a lot, and then proceeded to get completely distracted with leveling my Warlock.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I've been leveling my Warlock. My Warlock.
Right, because you just unlocked flying last Tuesday, right?
That is correct. Or
last Monday.
And if you recall, I was a little salty about it. Thought the whole kind of process wasn't the greatest in the world. But it took, basically for me, in my world, it took Legion from the most inaccessible alt World of Warcraft expansion ever to the most accessible just ever. But although I haven't really been able to reap the rewards all that much on my Warlock, because my Warlock was stuck in Draenor. My Warlock was 91, I believe.
Oh, geez.
So I had to go back and just do all of Draenor.
Oh.
Yeah.
You are a hero among men, sir.
It took less than an hour a level. So I was
really?
in and out of there.
Oh, did you have those like potions
yes.
or of XP gain or whatever? Yeah.
I had 5 pieces of experience boosting heirlooms and for the XP boosting potions that you can get from your garrison quartermaster for I think it's like a measly. It's a nominal fee. I think it's like 100 garrison resources or something. And what am I going to be doing with garrison resources? I don't give a crap about that garrison. I'm getting out of there as soon as I can. So I just burn it all on those potions. And I basically did 2 levels per zone, got to 100, and as of this morning, just completed my first artifact quest. I've got my scythe. I'm doing affliction. I'm loving the Warlock. I'm having a blast, and that's the reason I'm not already a Time Lord, even though I really want that. I really want that title, and I like the scenario, even though I got my ass kicked. I've really enjoyed dying. Apparently, I had a good time with it.
Yeah, so for me, I actually didn't get in there until Wednesday. And then, so when I did start it, it was because I actually guested on Azeroth Roundtable last week, and they wanted specifically to talk about the Deaths of Chromie scenario. So I was like, okay, I'll go in and give it a try, see what it's like. And I think I started playing at maybe like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and then literally played till 4 in the morning. And because it's a time scenario and you're like trying to execute perfectly and go really fast all the time, like I was literally like for like I don't even know how long. Like it was just ridiculous how much time I was spending, and I was like fully bent over my keyboard in like super try hard mode. And I was like, good save Chromie, and then like I literally stopped and I was about to queue up again, and then I was like, hang on, I have claws for hands. Like I can't move my fingers. I should maybe go to bed.
All right, nice.
I was like super obsessed with like min-maxing my pathways through all the dragon shrines and the portals, and then completing all the things you have to complete in the most efficient manner possible, and trying new things and shaving seconds off my time. And I was obsessed with this content.
Yeah, it's solid. So we had a decent length conversation off air before Angry Chicken last week, where we were talking about it, because you hadn't even gotten in there yet, and I had gone in and just basically deleted my character from how many times I died. And we were having this completely uninformed conversation about how would it be better to go in there in a tank spec if one is available to you. So what happened? You have your Time Lord title already.
I do, yes. I'm a Time Lord. I made it from nothing to Time Lord in that one Wednesday night.
Wow. Okay. So you clearly, something is collected. You've figured it out to some degree. I know you have a link to the Wowhead guide in here. I have actually perused that Wowhead guide, though I didn't read it a lot.
Well, yeah, and I wasn't sure because I don't want to give too many spoilers, but basically there's 8 things that you have to do, and I've gotten halfway through the 8th thing before running out of time.
Okay. So you've almost full played it.
So close. And so I've got some kind of nits to pick with that whole so close part. But I want to talk about what's amazing about it first, because I do think this is the most compelling content. This is the kind of thing that makes me go back into Warcraft and go super hardcore. I can't remember doing this since starting to level my first character through Legion. That's how exciting this content was. It was challenging, but not just challenging from a mechanic standpoint, although it was like that. It was almost difficulty wise fighting a very difficult dungeon boss or a very an easier raid boss. There are mechanics that you have to do, there's things that you have to interrupt, there's stuff that you have to dispel or heal through as a healer. And so it's they have challenging mechanics that you can't just go in and one-shot things and move on. So I really enjoyed that. It was basically allowed me to practice tanking. So I spent the first probably 3 or 4 hours with Chromie as my healer and me tanking, which is something I've never done before. So it was I got to practice pulling different mobs. I got to practice my tanking rotation and my interrupts and everything else, which was such a cool experience for me. And then once I unlocked some later talents and I kind of had the option to have her either heal or tank, I was you know what? Feel very comfortable. I feel I'm a really good healer. So I'm going to make her tank and I'm going to heal and see if we can do any better. And then I did. I can, as a tank, I was getting consistently to 5 out of 8. And then as a healer, I'm consistently getting 6 or 7 out of 8. So I'm progressing a lot further because dude, I know you love Chromie, but she sucks.
Yeah.
She stands in the poop. She doesn't dispel. She sometimes she just aggroes a whole entire group of mobs, and you're no, Chromie, just keep up.
All I'm hearing is Chromie is giving you an accurate healing experience. A very realistic depiction of what healing is like in World of Warcraft.
And then sometimes, I don't know if they hotfixed it or something, but not in my first night of run-throughs, but going back in since then, I've noticed that sometimes when I take portals, she doesn't follow me. She tries to fly from Wormrest Temple, where the scenario takes place, to some of the other locations that you take the portal to. So you take the portal and she starts flying across the Great Sea, and you're just no, Chromie, take the freaking portal. So then she's not with you during the stuff that you have to do through the portals. So and that's only been an issue in the last few days. So I'm not sure if they hot fixed something that then broke that. But I also noticed having her as tank, she aggroes everything. So as a healer, she was pretty good at sticking with me, but as a tank, she's just I hate you, bazap, I hate you, bazap, oh my god, we're fighting 10 things now, bazap, and I'm just Chromie.
So healer,
why can't we take the stealthy path?
Healer AI greater than tank AI is
it's kind of a toss-up. It's when she's a tank, basically she has a mechanic where she loses 2% of her health every second. But she gets a huge damage boost if you can keep her at 100%, because I guess the mobs just don't hit all that hard, so it's not that challenging as a well-geared healer. Although your gear and your level actually scale. So you can go in as a fresh 110. You don't have to be geared. But as someone who heals in heroic rating, I feel very confident in my skills. So I found it very easy to keep her topped up. But the trade-off, like, so she melts through mobs, but the trade-off is she pulls a whole lot. Whereas if I'm tanking, I can very specifically pull people and make a shorter, clearer path. But then, like, one of the dudes that you have to kill in one of the dragon shrines puts you to sleep for 7 seconds. So you lose 7 seconds unless Chromie dispels you. Whereas, like, if you're healing, then Chromie, you can just dispel Chromie and then she keeps doing damage. So it's a trade-off. Like, she definitely has drawbacks no matter which talent you pick in that tier. But, man, she's just an aggro happy tank.
Fair enough. So I went in just as Frost, just went in as damage. So it's sounding like I should probably go in and attempt it as blood and tank spec.
That's probably a good idea. I found just my survivability when I was in tank spec was a lot better, and my damage was pretty much on par, because when I was healing, like, I can do between 300 and 400k on my healer for damage if I don't have to worry about healing. So just do it, because I like the whole Shakaden rotation thing. It's so much freaking fun. But if I have to throw heals in there, then, I'm not as efficient in terms of damage. So I was finding I wasn't able to kill things fast enough when I was healing, because I had to focus on keeping Chromie alive. Man, she's so hard to keep alive.
All right. Well, it sounds like you're doing a fine job if you're getting further along.
I do think either healing or tanking is probably better than DPS. Although if you are a warlock or a hunter where you have a tanking pet, oh my God, you must just be able to wreck face.
I would assume so. Yeah. Although it's all a toss up, right? Trying to keep that pet alive I only saw one of the bosses thing hit like a damn truck. So especially with like a warlock where you have to take time to channel to keep your pet alive, that might be a bit of a toss up.
Yeah, that's true.
You could just
chat room's telling me that the sleep on that one elite in one of the dragon shrines is an interruptible cast, which is really interesting, because I could have sworn I tried interrupting it and nothing happened. And the only thing that worked is like my normal interrupt didn't work, but I have this like holy bash you on the head hammer ability, and that one worked. But it had a 40-second cooldown. Like, it's like my super big stun as opposed to an actual just an interrupt. So
yeah, it might be like.
So then it was like I could stun him for every other cast, but not every cast. So I was, yeah.
The mobs before the second boss in Nighthold, where their big kind of kill everyone AoE ability isn't technically interruptible. Like, it's not, because the cast bars are a different color.
Oh, the fulminators?
Yeah, the fulminate is not interruptible, but it will be interrupted if you displace them. So there's like ways around certain abilities, even if they're not technically interruptible. But it all depends. So maybe that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
no, Valshaw in the chat room just saying save some money interrupt for it. Okay, all right, good to know.
But anyways, yeah. So when you're going through the scenario, you kind of like you have to go around and you have to defeat each bad thing in each dragon shrine, and you can basically do like a start to finish dragon shrine in one round of 15 minutes. And the way that the mechanic works, and the thing that I really like, is like once you've gone in and seen something once, you remember that it's there. So that's true of things in portals and quests you might have to do, and knowing the location of bosses and things. So it's like you don't have to every single time go back and kill all the little dudes up to the big dude in the shrine. You can just go to the big dude in the shrine. So it's like the more you do it, the more you learn, and then the faster you can complete tasks, which I really, really like that mechanic.
Yeah, it works well, again, with the time travel theme.
Yes.
It makes sense that, we've done this before. We know where he is. Let's just go. It's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
The whole thought process behind this, and it being wrapped in this flavor package of time travel just makes it all work and make sense. So I dig it.
So there are a couple of little things that I kind of want to pick at, and the first is basically your ability to complete the scenario in the time limit is quite RNG dependent because you get these little hourglasses. I think they're called the Sands of Time, and they award you a choice between 2 items. And the items can be extra time, damage buffs, damage reductions, or like the really big ones are the Bronze Drake that you can get and the, like, powerful item, because a powerful item basically lets you skip to the end of a portal, and the Bronze Drake will clear a dragon shrine for you for free. It just instantly goes and clears it, so you don't have to worry about going to do that. So your luck in those hourglasses really is the difference between you being able to do like 5 or 6 things or almost complete the scenario. So that can be a little bit frustrating because sometimes you're just like, okay, well, I didn't get the thing that I needed. So now, I'm 8 minutes into my 15. And so all of a sudden you're just like, well, now I know I can't do it. So do I keep going or do I not keep going? And once you're a Time Lord, there's not really that much of a reason to keep going. Although you can get a treasure reward, or like I think it's called like a time lost wallet or something, which does contain battle pets. So if you're into battle pets, then you could keep grinding for Sands of Time to get battle pets using your remaining time. But it's like you usually have a really good idea by about the 10-minute mark whether you're going to be able to complete the scenario or not. And that's usually just hinging on your Sands of Time RNG, which can be really frustrating. Like I said, I played for so long and I was so into the content that my hands literally hurt. And I had kind of like min-maxed as far as I possibly could. I had done everything that I could, figuring out my fastest paths, apparently not the interrupts on the boss, that one specific boss. But anyways, like I felt like I had a pretty good idea of where I was going, what I was supposed to be doing. And I had done as much as was in my player skill to complete it. And then it was just all up to RNG. And I was like, that kind of feels crappy. So like that's kind of my nit to pick. And the second one is a little bit related. It's about Chromie's talents. From the Q&A, they said, the guy they were talking to, and I can't remember who he was. I think he was a senior game designer, but I can't remember his name. But he gave the example of like, oh, I'm really stuck on a spot, so I'm just going to wait 16 hours and let her last talent finish, which led me to believe that like 16 hours was the longest research time. Dude, it's totally not. It's like 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. And I was just like, I thought you weren't time gating this content. Like, damn it. And the increase in power levels between those talents is crazy. It's like you increase your chance to find the Sands of Time and you increase your chance to get drakes to clear your dragon shrines, and it's basically like once you've maxed out Chromie's talents, it's just a win button. And I was like, I wish my player skill had more to do with it instead of just like me waiting like a week and a half to unlock all her talents. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. As an MMO, that doesn't sound like an unreasonable amount of time, especially if you are already getting 7 of 8.
I know, it's just because like I feel like I did everything I could and still couldn't beat it. And it does reward time, time walking currency. So it's the kind of thing that I would still, even after I beat it, I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to farm my my time walking currency when the time walking events aren't up. So, like there is a real world reward, or I guess real World of Warcraft reward to doing this content more than once. You can farm for the battle pets, you can farm it for gold. There's no AP. But like I said, there are the time warp badges. So there are rewards tied to doing the content. So I feel like it doesn't need to be time gated. Like, even though I haven't been able to complete it, like I've sunk a good like 10 to 12 hours into that one specific piece of content over the last week. Yeah. So like,
I mean, again, the devil's advocate it, and to maybe also like stem the tide of borderline trolley responses, I think, to your concern of, you wish that your players still had more to do with it. I mean, within the first day of it coming out, you've been able to clear 7 of 8. You're playing an MMO. The whole thing is player skill only takes you so far. That's like the entire hook, line, and sinker of an MMO. Like, yeah, I could go kill Gul'dan if only player skill was the only thing that mattered. It's just like, I mean, it's an MMO. At a certain point, it's gated by something.
Yes,
it's
and
gated by gear. It's gated by level.
By
It's
gear,
gated
yeah.
by your teammates' intelligence level.
And I don't know, I guess I can get a little bit more behind gating something for gear because again, that's something I can kind of control. I get a little frustrated, and I got frustrated with archaeology for the same reason. I get frustrated when the only thing standing between me and the thing that I want to do, especially when it's content like Deaths of Chromie, which I think is amazing content. I think it's really, really fun, and I want to feel rewarded by completing it because I've put so much in. And so my problem is once I get to a mechanic where the gate is just sit and wait. Like, it's not, try more raids, run some mythic pluses, try to get that gear, do a lot of world class. Like, if there's nothing I can do, that's where I kind of get a little frustrated because I'm just like, I have to wait 5 days because of some arbitrary decision at Blizzard that I need to sit here and wait. Like,
That's fair enough. That's fair. I think having no recourse to speed up the process that's a fair criticism.
well, because I've already done it enough times that I've earned all my rep. Like, I was exalted with Chromie really fast. So I have all of my rep to buy the talents. I'm just now sitting and waiting. So I've even done the work, right? So I don't know. And I mean, I have the same complaint, like I said, about archaeology. I had the same complaint about like even just the class hall research. Like, it's all the same. And even then, the class hall research from a lore perspective makes a little bit more sense. Like, you want to upgrade your order hall, that's going to take some time. We have to build a shelter for the dudes you're recruiting or whatever. Like, that to me makes sense. But where you're dealing with a time-traveling dragon, can't you just look forward in time and see, oh, I know that talent. I'm going to talk to myself, learn it, and come back to the past because time travel reasons. So, like, waiting for Chromie to learn things doesn't make any sense.
You don't know how confusing it is, Jocelyn, to be able to peer into all timelines at once. I mean, it takes a lot of time to sort those thoughts. Come on. Cut her some slack. Leave Chromie alone. You're being mean to my girl Chromie. I don't appreciate it. But
I'm just saying, lore-wise, that waiting doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a game and there are mechanics, so...
Yep.
And there have definitely been times in WoW where I have played way longer than I should have because there was nothing stopping me from just continuing the grind. So every now and then, as much as I'm with you, that I typically hate time gating, I'm a little thankful that it's like, cool, all right, I have no reason to still be playing this game. I can move on to other things. So,
fair enough.
And you
speaking
did.
of moving on to other things, unless you have something else to say about 7.25 stuff.
Nope. I'm leveling a Warlock and working on and trying to catch up on my AP since we're probably, I'm assuming, raiding tomorrow.
Yes, we are. We are Tomb of Sargeras raiding tomorrow,
and
which I am really excited about. I am so done.
And if
I'm
Civ
so
is,
done with Nighthold.
If Civ is in the chat room, yes, I am continuing to ignore the existence of the calendar. I apologize. I never remembered that the thing is even on there.
Which is so funny because doesn't your little clock like blink at you all the time, telling you have a
I
notification?
have add-ons. I don't have all that crap on my mini-map. It's sitting down on my mini-map button frame. I don't actually check that thing.
Oh.
I only go in there when I have to unlock my bartender.
I feel like it's the same issue I have with like when I had the iPhone and then I had the little icon telling me how many unread emails I had. Like, I have this like OCD where I have to answer all my notifications. Like, nothing can be flashing, nothing can be outstanding.
I can't stand having those red notifications either. So yeah.
But yeah, so no, I'm glad you're coming to raid with us because I'm really excited to start some new content. I'm so excited to start new content, new boss fights. I don't even care what the lore is because the story leading into Tomb of Sargeras has been so crappy that I'm just like, I don't even care. Just throw like, I don't know why we're here. I don't care. I just want to kill something, which is a really weird experience for me to have.
You're there to close the demon portal. You're there to descend into the depths of one of the greatest high elf pieces of archaeological awesomeness ever. What is wrong with you?
I don't care, Garrett.
Get off my lawn. Get off my beautiful elven lawn, Jocelyn.
I just want to kill something, Garrett. I don't care.
I do too, but care. It's the freaking Tomb of Sargeras. You're going into the Tomb of Sargeras. Show some respect.
Like I said, I just want to kill some dudes.
Get out.
But
we're not friends
yeah,
anymore.
we're getting in there tomorrow, and I'm excited.
I quit. I'm just gonna walk away.
But I also, and if you are a Horde listener, maybe plug your ears. I am doing the best I can for our Alliance fans to eliminate my quote-unquote Horde bias. I started a Worgen character to see the Alliance side of the story. I picked Worgen because they are like my most hated Alliance race because I love Sylvanas and I hate Greymane. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I am going to go like full on. I'm going to commit and I'm going to make a Worgen and I'm going to see what the hell is going on with these guys. So I finished the Worgen starting area, and it was some of the most fun I think I've had, like, in a starting area. That starting area is amazing. Like, I love the design of their, like, old English countryside kind of villages and homes, and then the world actually, and I know obviously the starting area was designed in Kata, I believe, right? So it's a little bit more advanced than some of the other starting areas, but the world, like, you progress through the story in like a kind of step-by-step fashion. You push further into the world and the world changes around you. Like, there's some points in time where, like, I guess the cataclysm is happening and part of your starting zone like sinks underwater. There's the tie-ins between the Worgens and the Night Elves, which I think are really cool. So I had a really good time in the starting area. I'm still having a little bit of trouble connecting to Greymane, but he is a little bit more of a sympathetic character to me now than he was previously. I still don't agree with what he's doing in Legion, but I also have a whole lot of Warcraft to see between the Worgen starting area and, you know, where Greymane ends up in Legion. So it's a lot of fun, though, and I'm playing as a rogue, which is pretty new for me. So overall, new race, new class, and I'm having a lot of fun. But man, oh man, it is so weird to walk around these Alliance towns and not get shot at. Like, a lot of these locations I've seen before, but from like I'm raiding you, I'm gonna come kill all your dudes. So to just be walking around them, I'm like, why is no one shooting at me?
I had the exact same reaction when I made my swap to Horde during Lich King, because I was Alliance from vanilla until the middle of basically the Ulduar patch of Lich King. So when I swapped over and maxed out my paladin, it was strange. It was strange. Also, Orgrimmar is so ugly. It was really ugly back then. But that
is one thing that I've always known about Alliance, but that I've really noticed actually after spending some time like on the ground and having to walk through and actually having the time of not being shot at to kind of appreciate the scenery a little bit more. Their locations are so much prettier than ours. Oh my God. There's so much cool design that's gone into it. Like, they're so neat.
It's fantastic. It's one of the main reasons I have never been able to shake my my love of the Alliance. Is their cities.
Their architecture is just so much better.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. And the point of Orgrimmar is to look the way it does. I get that. Mm-hmm. It's just not my jam. I would rather spend my time in Undercity or Silver Moon, but there's no reason to go there. Also, they both need
Undercity,
facelifts.
like the ruins above are nice, but Undercity itself is like, ugh.
Oh, I like it. I like the.
It's all slimy and green.
I like old Tim Burton, so sign me up for everything that's happening in Undercity. I would love a refresh, though. Like,
I like the towns. I like the undead towns, I think.
Yes, that is because they were the undead towns have since been reskinned. In Lich King, we got new undead architecture, and that's what you're seeing with like the Tesla coils and the crazy roof designs and all of that.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Undercity needs to be redone, and so does Silver Moon. Up those textures, please. But anyways, we should probably move into our big topic of today, which brings us to our lore segment. And today we will be covering the Warrior Class Hall campaign, which begins with Horde and Alliance schisms right out the gate, which is a great segue from what we were just talking about, Jocelyn finally getting out and attempting to play an Alliance tune. So if you are an Alliance warrior, you will start your journey with Danath Trollbane, which requires a mini lore segment on Danath Trollbane. So if you're not familiar with him, he dates all the way back to the old Alliance of Lordaeron. He was alongside Khadgar, Illyria, and Turalyon, and others as they went beyond the Dark Portal to fight the Horde on their home turf and close the portal. Danath was among the many trapped in Outland after the portal was closed. We actually talked quite a bit about this on our Turalyon and Illyria episodes of this here very show in the very early days of it. So if you want to hear more about the journey beyond the Dark Portal, go check that out. Anyway, we ended up finding Danath, the Alliance players. If you were Horde, you probably got shot in the face. But Alliance players ended up finding Danath after the portal reopened during the events of the Burning Crusade. And he was there leading what remained of his men at the Hellfire Peninsula stronghold called Honorhold. And they now call themselves the Sons of Lothar. Danath was pretty much just hanging out at Honorhold up until this very point. He never left. He never went to go try and reclaim Stromgarde or anything of that nature. He's just been hanging out on Honorhold after the event of Burning Crusade until now, where he has been called upon to return to Azeroth to help fight the Legion. So that'll be your point of contact if you're an Alliance warrior. Horde warriors, on the other side, are dealing with High Overlord Varric Sourfang. I actually had to dig deeper than I thought I needed to figure out what the hell Sourfang's first name was.
Yeah, that's true. I just know him as like Overlord. Like
yeah, Sourfang. He's just referred to as Sourfang. But yeah. Since we're invoking him, a quick Sourfang lore, I think, explanation is required. And the thing about Sourfang is that most of us, when you hear Sourfang, you think of this one person, the Varrock Sourfang. But the overarching thing is that the Sourfang family is a rather famous group of Horde warriors. So they're all of the Blackrock clan. Varric has a brother, or had a brother, named Broxagar, who was sent back in time to the War of the Ancients, and we discussed this on our Malfurion and Illidan lore segment. He actually sacrificed himself to allow the two brothers to close the Well of Eternity. So he's not only, he's A, lost in time, and B, dead.
Yes. Which I don't, because I don't think you've read the books, but there is a 3-book War of the Ancients trilogy, which deals with, there's 3 of them. There's a red dragon, and I can't remember his name right now, and I'm getting him totally confused with Khadgar, but yeah, I'm totally blanking on his name. But there's Broxagar, a red dragon dude, and the wizard that died at Theramore.
At Theramore?
Yes.
Was it that died at Theramore?
Ronan.
Ronan? Okay.
Ronan.
Yeah. I was thinking...
All of them go back in time to basically because somebody's trying to screw with the time ways. So
these lore segments have really screwed with what my brain affiliates with what you said, dies at Theramore. And the first thing that popped in my mind, instead of the most recent happening at Theramore, was when Jaina's father died.
Oh, right.
The events of that battle at Theramore.
Yeah, no, the big mana bomb.
Yeah, Ronan. So it was Ronan. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, so they all go back in time. It's a really cool story, and it's really interesting because the Red Dragon guy, I can't believe I'm still blanking on his name. He's actually alive during the War of the Ancients. So he is
Crassus?
like trying to... Crassus, yes. He's trying to avoid himself at different times, and it's like he's less powerful because he exists in... like twice in the same time, so it's like his powers like split between the two that are existing in the same time way. So it's a really, really cool story, and if you guys haven't read it, I think you guys all should. And not to mention Broxagar makes a big sacrifice, and it's very moving at the end because he's like the rough and tumble orc, and they're sent back in a time where the Horde and Alliance don't quite trust each other. Not to mention everyone back in the time of the War in the Ancients has never even seen an orc. They're like, WTF are you? So it's a really cool, it's a really, really well written, really cool story. It was actually where I started reading with all of my Warcraft books and learning my lore. That's where I started, because I read the books in like chronological order as opposed to order of release. So this is where I started, and it's a very good story.
Very cool. The other big Varrock Sourfang connection is his son, Dranosh, who was killed by the Lich King, Arthas Lich King, during the Battle of Wrathgate. He was then raised to serve Arthas as a Death Knight and was killed again by heroes of the Alliance and the Horde, after which he was laid to rest in the Grand by his father, Varrock. Varrock Saurfang himself has been a warrior of the Horde since its inception, and has fought in all 3 wars on Azeroth, served as Orgrim Doomhammer's second-in-command during the Second War, led the fight against Ahn'Qiraj, led the Kor'kron into Northrend during the events of Wrath of the Lich King, and fought alongside Thrall in the Siege of Orgrimmar against Garrosh. After the defeat at the Broken Shore and Vol'jin's death, Varrock became the leader of the Orgrimmar Orcs under our new war chief, Sylvanas. So now you are up to speed on Saurfang.
Yeah, he's actually been the leader of the orcs since Garrosh fell, right? And then both Vol'jin and Sylvanas were war chiefs, so he gave up the war chief title and just led the orcs.
I could be mistaken. I had to go refresh myself via Wowpedia, and it made it sound like it was after the events of Broken Shore, but I could just have read it incorrectly. Anyway, so both Danath and Saurfang are shot down after you, the warrior, go and try and scout the Broken Shore. They're totally fine, though. You find them later. And then you are sent out to battle the Legion along Vrykul Champions, where you, the warrior champion, die, sort of, and then are resurrected by the Valkyr Danica the Reclaimer in Skyhold. And now, for some Skyhold lore. Skyhold is a section of the Halls of Valor, which if you've been playing Legion, you should be very familiar with. You probably run it more times than you want to admit. And the Halls of Valor were actually once a part of Ulduar, secured by Odyn for his army. However, the Titan Keepers refused Odyn's order for an army of Valarjar. So Odyn called upon Helya to rip the Halls of Valor from Ulduar and raise it into the heavens above, which is why the Halls of Valor are chilling up in the heavens above Azeroth. From this point on, Odyn promised eternal life in the halls, reborn as Valarjar, for anyone who proved themselves worthy while dying in battle. However, he needed Valkyr to do this, to keep that promise, and none of the Vrykul wanted to offer themselves into service as Valkyr. As a matter of fact, Helya went as far as to voice her opposition and try and convince Odyn to change his plan, and this just pissed Odyn off royally, so he forcibly turned Helya into the first Valkyr and forced her to carry out the job of retrieving spirits from the Shadowlands so that they may be reborn in the Halls of Valor as Valarjar. So this is why, when Loken, who was corrupted by the influence of Yogg-Saron, when he approached Helya, she gladly turned against Odyn and his Valarjar and sealed the Halls of Valor, to the point where Odyn and his Valarjar could not leave. They were just stuck in the Halls of Valor. And she then went and created her own realm, Helheim.
Which I think is super cool, because you can see how she's so corrupted and twisted and angry that the world she tried to create is a total reflection of that. You can see the influences of some of the Titans in Helheim, but it's all dark and corrupted and just this place of shadows and horrors and everything else, because she herself has just been so corrupted by her hate for Odyn. And I don't blame her. Guy is a dick.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've said this many, many times over the course of our Legion episodes, but man, I don't understand how he's a good guy. I really want to, at some point, just go and kick his butt. And not to 80%. I full on just want to kick his butt.
Yeah, after, learning this, I don't know why Sylvanas and Helya don't just get along, because they have some serious parallels in their stories.
Right?
Yeah.
So basically what happens is the warrior champion is resurrected before they actually die, but wasn't turned into a Valarjar by the orders of Odyn. So he believes that the warrior is the champion that he has foreseen, the one that's going to lead his army against the Legion. So the warrior is not turned into a Valarjar, but the Odyn does name him that. So you don't actually go through any kind of transformation, but you get the kind of honorary title, I guess. Mm-hmm. So you collect your artifact weapon and you begin using the Eye of Odyn, which is your way to see down to the world below. And the warriors probably have the coolest travel mechanic of any class in the game, because they jump through this hole in the middle of Skyhold and they just come crashing down to one of like the kind of capitals of each of the zones. So Garrett, I don't know if you've ever been standing in any of the like I think it's Lorathil or Lothathil or something, whatever it is in Valshara, like the main starting quest point, and a warrior comes down and it's like kabam, and there's this big like crater that forms on the ground and stuff. Like the first time that happened, I was like, am I being attacked? What's happening? And it's just the warriors coming down from their class hall. It's so freaking cool. It's like this giant heroic leap.
Yeah, I have sadly not been there when that happens, but that sounds Warcraft as hell.
Yes, it's really, really cool. So after many victories against the Legion, Danica reappears, informing the Valadar champion that Odyn believes the champion is powerful enough to take command of the army. So you select multiple leaders and start collecting troops, and realize that Helya has actually captured Anar the Runecaster, but you do actually have the chance to go and free him. So, and I've got to say, Garrett, man, these names, like, there are so many names that are so hard to pronounce.
Yeah, very cool. Valarjar, Helya, Valkyr, Einar, it's just Nordic as all hell. It's just...
It is super Nordic, and it's not there's just so many J's all over the place, and I am not used to seeing J's right in the middle of names. You don't belong there.
I also, we're going to talk about Gajallarhorn later. I'm not used to seeing J's immediately following a G with no vowel in between.
Yes.
So.
There are a lot of interesting sounds in some of these names, so please excuse at least my pronunciation.
No, you will not be alone. You will not be alone. Anyways, moving on. The Keepers and Odyn have not fought as one since Odyn left the Halls of Valor to create the Valarjar, and the Keepers refused to listen to him, which at this point I don't blame them in any way, shape, or form. He sounds like a horrible guy. Anyways... You have to be friends with him, apparently, if you're a warrior. There is, however, an artifact known as the Gajallarhorn that the Keepers of Ulduar are oath-bound to answer the call of, as the sounding of Gajallarhorn signals the end of times. Because epic, awesome stuff. It's so cool. Heimdall knows that King Svergen Stormcloak was the last living guardian of the horn. So that we need to go find him. However, Stormcloak no longer lives. However, his spirit resides within the Field of Fallen Kings, and more correctly, it is bound against his will to the Field of Fallen Kings. So we speak with the spirit and find that, his grave has been robbed and his heirlooms taken, and that is why his spirit is bound to the field. So we go and liberate the heirlooms that were grave robbed by the agents of Skovald. And then the Valarjar champion, also the warrior, burn the heirlooms and release Stormcloak's soul, which means he is now free to enter the Halls of Valor. By the way, quick aside here, at no point in anything I researched on the Warrior Class Hall campaign do they ever explain why all of a sudden the way to the Halls of Valor are open.
Yeah, and I feel like Helya is maybe just distracted by all of the Legion stuff, and that, I don't know, she's somehow, her armies are now being bombarded at the Maw of Souls, and because it's the same reason why Halls of Valor just can be a dungeon, right? Like not only the Warrior Class Hall, but just all of it, the walls around it are now down, and they don't give a reason. But you've just kind of got to think maybe Helya is just whatever, I'm going to stop casting my spell. I have bigger things to worry about. I have to repel people from my domain in Helheim, and also I'm going to, try to take over other parts of the Broken Shore. So
distraction,
I think she just shifted. Yeah, I think she shifted her focus, or at least that's what I'm going with. Because there's no dispelling the barrier around the Halls of Valor or anything like that for anyone, not only warriors, but like I said, it is a dungeon as well, right? So you never at any point kind of beat back Helya to the point that she releases the barrier. No. Because as soon as you enter into Stormheim, so it's not even the events of Helheim when you go in questing in Stormheim. As soon as you enter into Stormheim, you're talking to Odyn. He comes to you under the guise of being a Valarjar, but he is just Odyn.
Not even a Valajar, just a straight up Rykul named Havi.
Or Rykul, yes, sorry. So yeah, he's Havi, so he's out of the Halls of Valor now. So before you do any questing or do anything in Stormheim to try to beat back Helya, he's already free.
Yeah,
so
he's chilling. I don't know. I imagine this will be addressed either in a novel that involves this in any way, shape, or form, or if we get a chronicle volume up to current timeline.
Yeah.
But whatever the case is, distraction is frequently used as an excuse for something cool happening. That's the entire reason Sylvanas was able to break free of Arthas, for example.
Yes.
Anyways, moving on. Now with Stormcloak in the Halls of Valor, he sends the Valajar champion after a great worm by the name of Hutam. I don't know. This is one that's really boggles my tongue. Anyway, this great worm is what devoured Stormcloak and his followers, and I guess ate the horn in the process. So we need to go find this great worm and kill it to retrieve the horn. Along the way, the champion meets a High Mountain Tauren, Jaram Skymane, who aids the champion in fighting through a tribe of Drogbar to get to the Great Worm within High Mountain. The Valajar champion then kills the Great Worm and retrieves Gajalar Horn.
So, before they actually sound Gajalar Horn?
Gajalar Horn.
Okay, Odyn, the champion, and the followers decide that their numbers have to be bolstered, and the risk of the war on two fronts removed. So you basically have to go and defeat Helya and secure Helheim. So they want to fight against the Legion, but they've got Helya at their back, so they decide to go deal with Helya first. The champion goes into the Maw of Souls to defeat her. She's defeated, but lives for the time being. So this is where she kind of retreats back into Helheim, and you have to go defeat her for good in the Trial of Valor, which is the raid. So on the way to Helya, the fallen king Yumeron falls again to the Valajar champion. After the victory at the Maw of Souls, the champion convinces a resistant Odyn to resurrect Yumeron into the service of the Valajar. So again, this is Odyn doing things against the will. Like, Yumeron doesn't want to serve.
Now, in Odin's defense, it is the warrior champion that convinces him to do this. Odyn doesn't want to. Odin's like, I hate this guy, let him stay dead. But the warrior champion wants him, because who doesn't want King Imran, especially if you're me and you played through freaking Lich King and you had to tank, so you had to run Utgard Pinnacle over and over and over and over again, killing King Imran trying to get your tanking sword. I want him as my follower, Jocelyn.
Fair enough.
Sorry, got a little personal there, but yeah, it's not Odyn. The warrior champion convinces him, and Odyn even calls you devious.
Yes, that is true. He does, because he basically said, you say, "Oh, but wouldn't making him your slave give you amusement?" And Odin's like, "Why, yes, actually, I would be quite amused with a slave for eternity."
I was about to say, I believe he straight up laughs, and it's like, "Oh, that is rather amusing, devious hero." Something of that nature.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, Imran becomes a follower, and if you're me, you geek out a little bit. So anyway, Heimdall then sounds Gajalar Horn, commanding armies of Ulduar heed Odin's call. And again, Lich King fans everywhere lose their mind because Ulduar, oh my god, fangasm. A panicked image of Thorim, however, appears proclaiming that Ulduar is powerless to answer the call as it is under siege by the armies of the Legion. So the champion, alongside Rena Bjorn Doter, these names. Bjorn Dotir, I'm sure, storm Ulduar, fighting their ways through the Halls of Winter, freeing Hodir along the way, and then continuing on into the Clash of Thunder to rescue Thorim. Hodir, Thorim, and the Valajar champion battle the Legion leader, Lady Ranzara. She, however, escapes through a Legion portal, and Hodir just rushes through in pursuit without thinking, and it closes, and Hodir is lost. Impressed with the champion's battle prowess, Thorim then promises the forces of Ulduar to the army of the Valajar in exchange for the aid in finding Hodir. So the search for Hodir then begins.
Right. So I didn't actually raid through Ulduar. So wasn't Hodir? Were all of the keepers kind of like turned against the heroes just by like the corruption of the old gods.
Yes,
and so
and you have to you basically go around Ulduar.
You free them, not kill them.
You do free them. You do not kill them.
Okay.
Because each one you kill grants a buff in the fight against the Oxyron. You can actually skip them and go fight Yogg, and there's a major achievement for doing so without the aid of any of the keepers.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been interested to see a little bit more. Like, it's cool that they kind of stuck with Thorim and Hodir, but I mean, there's so many other, like even just Freya. Like, there are a lot of other keepers in Ulduar, so I think they don't show too much of the raid, and I guess they couldn't have you go like all the way through the whole entire thing, right? So they did have to pick a section, but I'm such a sucker for Freya and her like little garden of awesome. I want to see more of her.
I agree to a certain point, but I would concede that I don't think we need to revisit 4 wings of Ulduar during an artifact quest.
Yeah, fair enough. So we go on the search for Hodir. Odyn sends us to collect demonic runestones from the Legion so that we can open the Legion portal. So by this time in all of our class order hall lore segments, this has got to be starting to sound familiar, right? Like, We need to go to a demonic world. The only way to get there is to get the runestones or the map or the power source or whatever from demons so that we can get to, oh, what do you know? Niskara. Spoiler. But the Valajar basically boost their army further while preparations are being made for an assault on the Legion world. Once prepared, they secure a foothold in Fellblaze Ingress to take the fight to Niskara. Thorim, the Valajar champion, and the supporting warriors take the fight to Warlocks of the Legion and make their way to Hodir. Hodir has been corrupted by Legion agents, and so he attacks Thorim and the champion, and it's so cool because he's got like his normal model, but he's all like fell crystalled out and stuff. Yep. So it's actually there's a pretty cool transformation that takes place when you find like corrupted Hodir. So he attacks you, and then his mistress, Lady Renzera, who did the corrupting, reappears, joins the fight to protect her new pet. But she fails, and when she falls, the fell energy dissipates, and Hodir is cleansed. Yay! So guess who your next champion is going to be in your class order hall? That's
Hodir.
Right, it's a cleansed Hodir.
Yeah, which is pretty badass. Like I said, if you're a fan of all of the Titan stuff happening in Lich King, man, the Warrior class hall campaign is just one giant piece of fan service.
Yeah, this is, I think, the most focused of any of the class halls that we've done so far. You very much deal with the Valajar and Odyn and Stormheim and Helya. Like, that is your jam. You kind of go into High Mountain a tiny little bit, but for the most part, you are just like resolving a lot of lore around the Titans and the Keepers. So if that's your jam, then the Warrior class hall is 100% for you, because it gives you so much more information about what happened to Helya to make her so evil, and just all of the stuff around Stormheim, except of course the Alliance and Horde conflict. But in terms of the actual Stormheim lore and Odyn and all of his Halls of Valor stuff, you get a lot of information through the Warrior class hall. So if that was your favorite zone, then think about rolling a Warrior.
Yes. Yeah. I have an Alliance Warrior ready to go, and this is making me want to get back there. Because it's
just to see the heroic leap into the crater, I think is something you just need to do.
All right. Maybe after my Warlock, who I'm really enjoying, by the way. Maybe I will. I can't believe once you unlock Flying in Legion, once you get on an ult, you can just freaking fly. You can just freaking fly in the freaking.
It's so much easier, right?
It's so great. It's so fantastic. Anyways, as always, got to thank Novel87's YouTube channel, Wowpedia, and WowWiki, because we could not play through all of this stuff on our own. We got Hearthstone to do, and Heroes to do, and other, WoW stuff to do.
Every other video game ever.
Yeah. So huge thanks to all of the other fan sites and creators out there that make collecting this lore possible. Let's move on and wrap this episode up with an email or two. You may send your emails to fazpodcast@gmail.com if you're not busy. I don't know, opening up like a gift shop in Ascara. We have beat that place to a pulp at this point over the last 3 weeks covering the campaign order halls. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go there. I'm going to open up a little shop. I don't know, maybe sell some street meat. It'll be wonderful.
As long as it's not demonic.
Hey, man. You know, cleanse demon street meat is a delicacy, anyway, fazpodcast@gmail.com. Send your emails there. John L. writes in and says, I promise this is not an idea for a lore dive, but it is lore related. Given my limited time, I only played one class, Paladin, heavily, and mostly solo PvE content. With your recent dives into the class hall, it got me thinking, if there was a class that had better lore, would I have changed classes to feel that history? I'm wondering if your mains would still be the same if their lore was either less appealing or another class's was more appealing. What are your thoughts? Oh, totally. The way Death Knights play, I don't like it that much, actually. I would probably swap classes at this point if my Death Knight wasn't the most well-geared with the most artifact power, and I don't really feel like going back and doing that grind. But I'm not the biggest fan in the world of how they play. I think warriors, when it comes to melee, are infinitely more fun just because of their movement abilities. Death Knights just have to freaking walk everywhere.
Yeah, because your only movement ability is Wraith Walk, right? Where you turn into a ghost and speed up a little bit.
And
but warriors have all their jumping and spinning and whooshing and rushing and
I think I don't think there's anything I enjoy more in WoW than playing a warrior. At least at this time, I am really liking the Warlock right now, though. I love just dotting everything up, like going to a zone, dotting like 6 things, and then just like going and mining while they all die as my infernal holds them. Like you feel like this master of death, and you have your slave demon that just does your bidding. And then you poison everyone around you, and you just walk away and they die. It's a really cool feeling. Again, not movement centric in any way, shape, or form, but they feel like they don't need to move. Whereas the Death Knight,
they're so badass that they just kill things before they need to get out of the way.
Exactly. Whereas Death Knights clearly need to move their melee. They need to follow stuff around, and it's not fun to follow things as a Death Knight, in my opinion. But Arthas.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about being a survival hunter was your basically you have the rogue has the grappling hook ability. You have that same sort of ability, except you pull yourself to bad guys. And that was so much fun for me. It's on such a low cooldown that I was just kind of like, swing, kill, swing, kill, swing, all over the place. And it's so freaking cool. So yeah, I agree that giving classes a little bit of movement flair is very appealing. I think paladins get 2 charges on their summoned steed, which lets you fight from horseback if you want to, which is also really cool.
Yep.
So, but yeah, they don't have too much movement. It's a very long cooldown, very similar to your Wraith Walk. Like you get 1 or 2 charges and it's on a 40-something second cooldown. So you can't do it all the time the way warriors.
I haven't been back on my Paladin in so long, but I could have sworn they got rid of it. You used to get a speed boost when you use Judgment, just a regular movement speed increase.
I think they took that away because I use Judgment as part of my regular rotation anytime it's off cooldown, and I don't move any faster.
Yeah, so I used to love that about Ret Pally, because it gave you that movement that felt like the class was missing.
Oh, unless maybe because I play Holy most of the time, and I've just kind of started playing as the tank, so I haven't played Ret in a very long time, so they might still have it. But just for that spec, it definitely doesn't speed up your movement as a healer. But I think I lucked out when I switched to Paladin and started because I wanted to heal. So switching to Paladin, I think, was a really good choice. And I got very lucky because I think the Paladin Order Hall is one of the best, especially since we've gone through and now I think we only have Druids, Hunters, Warlocks, and something else. We have 4 left, and I've played through the Hunter one. That was the first one that I did. And Paladin, I still think, unless there's something crazy good in the Warlock campaign, I still think Paladin's one of the best. So I just lucked out. I probably would have switched to Paladin after hearing their Order Hall campaign if I was still on my hunter, because like their Order Hall campaign is just so cool. But I would definitely play a different class for their Order Hall campaign, 100%.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I would really consider Rogue. I'm with you on Paladin. I think priests are great. I really enjoy the light and the void and the dichotomy of that. And anytime they delve into that, because it's just really cool. I like the way that they play with the idea of religion in Warcraft lore, and how it's a power source depending on what your belief is for all of it. Even when you get into shamanism and druid and the wild and all of that kind of stuff, it's super rad. But for me, the light and the void are the coolest because it's tied so deeply to. I mean, the void is tied to the old gods in certain ways and the Legion, and there's just so much awesome. But yeah, I don't know if I just went with like what class makes me smile the most when I play it, I'd probably just be a warrior all the time. But
yeah, I don't know in terms of actual mechanics because I haven't played every class. So I don't know if there is a class with like truly crappy mechanics like you say Death Knight has, but with really cool lore. So I don't know if I can think of a class that I would play just for lore, even if the mechanics were truly horrible. But yeah, this expansion with all of their class-specific lore and class-specific questing and artifact-specific questing has made me branch out into alts the way that previous expansions just didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking very forward to digging deeper into my Warlock, for example. So, anyways, one more email and let's wrap this up.
This email comes to us from Michael P. He says, "Hey guys, I'm looking for some advice. I recently jumped back into WoW with some friends, starting new characters on the Alliance for the first time. Only played Horde before this. This sounds very familiar and might have been the email that actually inspired my starting of the Worgen character. But Michael goes on to say, we each rolled different races and classes we've never tried before. So he is playing a Draenei mage, and then his friends are a human priest and a Worgen warrior. We decided to try a level through to 110 without using heirlooms. I was hoping you guys could give me some advice on what I need to check out." So I looked into this question because I've never played on the Alliance side, and there are some zones, and basically any of the zones where there is a significant Alliance Horde conflict seems to be the zones that have the most differences in storytelling. You basically get to see the other side of the conflict. So something like Stone Talon Mountain is something that is going to be quite different even if you've already played through it. There's also Eastern Plaguelands, which I really enjoy. I don't know if it's that different for Alliance, but at least as Horde, you go through and do the caravan, so you follow the caravan along to all the different towers through Eastern Plaguelands. Duskwood and Redridge Mountains are supposedly really good from the Alliance side. Just the stories that they tell in there are apparently very compelling. But the thing is, I think you're making a really good decision for not using heirlooms, because the whole rest of the world doesn't do the super cool, awesome thing that the Broken Shore does with the scaling of your levels. So I know for me, I'm wearing heirlooms on my Worgen, and I got to level 16 when I was leveling in the 1 to 10 starting zone. So it's like you out-level zones quite quickly. So my advice for any zone that you pick is just, even if you out-level it, make sure you play it through to the end. And if you don't have heirlooms, you're probably going to have a better, like an easier time about not out-leveling your content. But still, yeah, if you are using heirlooms, anybody using heirlooms and leveling, you're going to get the best lore experience by actually taking a zone all the way to completion, even if you don't level it, which is the mistake I made when I was leveling my hunter. My very first WoW character is, as soon as I dinged to the max level, so if the zone was like a 10 to 20, as soon as I hit 20, I would move on to a 20 to 25 zone. And I lost a lot of the story that way. And I was just like, I don't even understand the story of World of Warcraft because everything just feels so disjointed. And the reason that it did is because I never finished a zone fully. Because things have been, like, XP requirements have been squished since the original level design happened. So, yeah, you can go through zones very, very quickly. So I suggest don't. Take your time. Jade Forest also is my favorite one in Pandaria. So when you get to the point of playing Pandaria, Jade Forest to completion is really cool.
I I would say use heirlooms so you don't need to, because there's nothing stopping you from completing a zone. Absolutely nothing. You can even show low-level quests if you somehow level so immensely within the time of being there with heirlooms that you can't see quests anymore. You can just turn on, show low-level quests, because I feel like you'd have to do a lot of research to figure out if you figure out what zones you really want to go hit. For whatever reason, and I agree with your thought, Jocelyn, that go hit any zone where there's a Horde and Alliance conflict. Only you left Ashenvale out of your list, and that is a must, I think, because that's where freaking Warsong Gulches takes place, and it's this giant head bashing together of Night Elves and Orcs.
Right, because the Orcs basically start to, under Garrosh's leadership, like right at the very beginning, the Orcs start to expand out because... Thrall, when he founded the Horde and founded Orgrimmar, he basically said, like, we're guests in this world, like, be very respectful, everything else. And they had a fairly peaceful existence between themselves and the Night Elves in Ashenvale. And then Garrosh was like, screw that, we need timber. Why are we living in a desert? This is dumb.
Well, they were harvesting from Ashenvale under Thrall. Yes,
they were, but they were
not
they
to
were
the degree.
doing it sustainably and not pushing their boundaries. And Garrosh was just like, "No, we need it. We're taking it."
Yeah, because I mean, if you go look at a map, I mean, Durotar is pretty close actually.
Oh yes, it is. It's right on the border.
Yeah, exactly. But my point is once you get your list of zones you absolutely do not want to miss, I feel like you'd have to do more research than I would ever care to do to find out if you're going to get enough XP without heirlooms to not have to go and do zones you don't care about. So I would just use heirlooms so you don't need to worry about it and just go complete them to see the story.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of experience with heirlooms. I just because I haven't leveled too many characters outside of using the invasions at the beginning of Legion, which obviously is a totally different experience, right? So actually trying to level through zones with heirlooms, the Worgen is the first time I've really done it. So it's very much like I kind of realized how high I was, and then like you mentioned the turning on the low level quests. Some of the times I couldn't see the quests. Other times I was like getting XP, but it was so minimal that I was like, why am I even still here? And so that's where I start to feel like the bonus from heirlooms kind of catches up to the fact that you get a lot less experience when you're killing something that's 5 levels below you, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think it's
either or. Just make sure that regardless of your XP, don't pay as much attention to your XP as you do to your experience if that's what you want out of leveling. If you're just trying to level as fast as humanly possible, then yeah, as soon as you out-level the zone, move. But
which is what I did.
If you're going for story, then make sure you stick it out to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and do Westfall. If you're going to do Duskwood, do Westfall and then go into Duskwood. Because Westfall has some really great alliance political stuff that's interesting.
Maybe I should go and do that zone then.
I love
Westfall. Like on the Worgen, because I've currently out leveled it because Westfall is 1 to 10, right? Isn't it the human starting zone?
It's not 1 to 10. No, you're thinking of like Goldshire.
Oh, maybe. I don't know the Alliance side.
Though.
I don't know the names of the zones that are Alliance only, really.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 10 plus. It is. It is freaking definitely low level, but it's not the starting zone.
Oh, okay.
I leveled the weirdest damn way when I originally played, because I just wanted to see the Human Kingdom so bad. So like I did Darkshore on my Night Elf, and then I like corpse ran to Ironforge and somehow took a boat to Metaltal Harbor, corpse ran to freaking Ironforge, and then took the tram to Stormwind, and then I was into Stormwind. I'm like, oh, what's Westfall? And then I went and did Westfall on a Night Elf in vanilla. And it was I don't know. There's some nostalgia for me there, and Westfall has changed since the Cataclysm, but it's still very much kind of deep seated in what's going on with the Defias Brotherhood, and that's super cool, and you should see it.
Right, because that's where Dead Mines is, right?
Yep, it's just such a classic. You have to do Dead Mines. So.
Well, I've done Dead Mines, the dungeon. I've just never done Westfall, the actual area. And so cool. When the Worgen starting zone spit me out, it spit me out in Duskwood.
Yeah, I'm actually Westfall is 10 to 20, so you could do 10 levels in Westfall if you really wanted to. Duskwood is...
Or I could probably do, Yeah,
Duskwood is suggested 18 to 30, so you could just move through them naturally. But there's some really cool stuff in there. So have fun, man. There's some really great stuff to go see if you've never played Alliance before.
Yeah, and I think that that's true for just switching factions in general. If you've never seen the other faction side of the story, then it's like there's a whole half of Warcraft that you've never experienced. So I would highly recommend anyone who's only ever played one faction to just go and see the other side, because it's really, really interesting. There's a lot of awesome lore that you're missing out on if you've only ever played one side of the story.
Yep, absolutely. So enjoy it. Enjoy it, Michael, and welcome to the Alliance. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. A reminder, send your emails to fazfazpodcast@gmail.com and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Chrome, what was it, Chromecast? Is that what it's called now? Not Chromecast. I don't know, the Google Store. Google Play. That's
Google
it.
Play, yeah.
I don't use it. But anywhere. We're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on youtube.com/AMoveTV. Subscribe there. Catch us live Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. And Jocelyn, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. You can also find me right here on AMove TV every Wednesday night doing my general gaming podcast, The Gamers In. We had a super crazy week last week. We recorded basically, I think, 6 days in a row with all of our E3 coverage. So that's now available if you guys want to check it out on YouTube or on iTunes, either way. But yeah, we had a lot of E3 stuff going on. So it's going to be nice this week to just kind of like chill out a little.
Badass. Folks, I'm on Twitter at Garrett Art. Every podcast I do can be found at amove.tv. I would personally like to promote Embrace the Spoilers because we still have our Kickstarter running at bit.ly/embrace the spoilers. We're getting real close to our goal. Go check it out. We also have stretch goals once we hit 24 days left. Let's hit that goal and let's move on to those stretch goals, everyone. bit.ly/embrace the spoilers. And also, if you aren't already subscribed to the feed, there's plenty of episodes over there already, including spoiler episodes about all 5 leveling zones in Legion. That's actually how this show got started. So go and subscribe to it. And we are going to have something special coming to you on that feed relatively soon. So go check it out. Check it out. Embrace the Spoilers, iTunes, wherever podcasts can be found. Cool stuff. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of For Azeroth. Until next time, good luck and have fun, as always.
Every time you sign off, I want to say job's done.
It's Warcraft.
So
you can.
I know, it's just so ingrained in my head that, like, when Garrett signs off, we say job's done.